back, the Cherry Pickin Hockey Podcast, episode number 23. Just the three of us today. Avery is out of the office working from home. Big episode. We're going to talk about the NHL trade deadline. Wasn't very exciting from my perspective. What did you guys think?
It's a little disappointing. You know, trade centers when usually you get up on trade center and you think it's just going to be a big day. So much opportunity, so many names on the big board. And this year I felt like there was just some pieces. To begin with, it wasn't a great slate. And I guess some of the names got moved a couple weeks in advance or a couple days in advance of the trade center. So the day of was a little disappointing.
I was thinking Colorado and Florida, just every other team saw what they did and they're like, yeah, this isn't our year. We'll just try again next year, I guess.
Yeah.
Right?
Some big moves.
There's some teams that just they made like, yeah, we'll add a couple of depth pieces, I guess, but no one's like, usually you have like 4 or 5 teams went all in. There was like 2. Then like I guess like Tampa got Hagel, but it was a pretty flat deadline.
We're gonna talk about some trades here. We're gonna go to the trade tracker. We're gonna go see. Just stop me if you see a trade that you want to talk about.
Do you
first
know
one? Yeah, this is
Ducks,
interesting.
do you know the Ducks Vegas? What's going on with that with Evgeny?
I heard it's under review.
Scroll up a little bit.
So so it's bizarre what happened. So
What the fuck, Kessler? Like,
He's
what's
on-
his contract?
LTIR.
So this is what happened with the trade. So Dadonov got traded to Vegas last summer from Ottawa.
Yep.
Right? So he has a 10-team no-trade clause.
Okay.
So he allegedly submitted it when he was still with the Sens, is what he's saying.
Yeah.
What happened is he got dealt to Vegas, and it was kind of like they asked him, is Vegas on your list? And he said no. So they sent him there because, you know, going Ottawa to Vegas is a pretty good move for a guy like that.
Yeah.
And apparently the league never got his 10-team list. And the deadline was like last July.
Yeah.
So if you don't submit it, that means you don't have one because he didn't submit his teams.
Yeah.
So now the league is saying, well, we didn't have your list, so you're allowed to go there. He's saying, no, I made a list. I submitted it. I don't know if the league got it or not, but he made one. And now it's becoming like an NHLPA issue. And the other thing about this trade is, so in the NHL, this is like a really weird thing. It never happens. You're allowed to trade after the deadline ends.
Yeah.
But if you trade a player, he can't play for you in the playoffs.
Really?
So that's why, like, usually a trade is a good team and a bad team are, I'm sending you picks and you're sending me a guy for the playoffs.
Yeah.
So usually that's why it doesn't happen. But Vegas is doing this to dump the cap off so that they can activate their guys on IR. And so Dadonov wouldn't be playing in the playoffs. He goes to Anaheim anyways.
You don't think so?
Anaheim's on the playoffs. They're done.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So the issue now is the league is saying, we didn't get your 10-team trade list.
Yep.
And Dadonov and his agent are saying, no, we submitted it. Maybe the Sens lost or whatever happened, but it's a really weird scenario.
Yeah. Yeah, that's...
It's awkward if he has to stay with Vegas knowing they want to dump him, and it's awkward if he goes to Anaheim knowing that he doesn't want to go there so bad he wants to cause a fuss.
Yeah. Fuck. Like, I guess Dadonov, oh man, that'd be so awkward. If
I have to say this
he ends up winning
situation
it.
makes me feel a little better with myself because it's like, this is a classic, you know, you're at work, it's like a Friday and you're supposed to get something in and then like get a message on the weekend. They're like, where is this? You go, you just didn't do it. And you just go, I forgot to hit to send. I did it, but I just forgot to hit send. You have to do it up
You
real
send a
quick.
blank PDF by accident.
Yeah, this happens at like the highest levels with millions of dollars on the line. This makes me feel a little bit better about myself.
Yeah.
Love that.
It's wild. I mean, I don't know what the hell's going to happen here. But if he didn't submit the list, I mean, technically Vegas played by the rules, so...
Yeah, Vegas thought that, he didn't submit a list. We can send him wherever we want.
Yeah.
But he's saying, no, I did. Now it's becoming like a union issue.
Oh, God.
And it also ties up the Vegas's cap space because he still hasn't been officially moved yet.
Yeah, I wonder what's...
So it's a mess because they got shut out last night. So it's just a mess for them right now.
That's a disaster. That's a PR nightmare.
Yeah.
Anaheim really dumped a ton of their players this year. Like for a team that's kind of on the edge, you got rid of Raquel, Manson.
Yeah.
These guys, was it
Lindholm as well.
Yeah. So
yeah, I
got
think
rid of some
they're.
guys.
I don't know. I don't really know what their trying to do. Like, obviously, that team on paper isn't good.
No.
And no one really thought they were a playoff team. Obviously, I wonder if they should have just got rid of Gibson and got a huge haul.
I think that's a trade. That's a draft
this
move.
offseason, you think?
That's a draft move,
They
yeah.
had some young talent though.
If they didn't have Gibson, they wouldn't even be sniffing being competitive. You're like, oh, it's just a young rebuilding team. But you have a guy like John Gibson, you're going to stay competitive for at least a few games here or there.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was the right move, getting rid of those guys. They didn't need to re-sign those guys. They shouldn't have. They're a young team. They need to build it out still. I think they've seen what the Minnesota Wild have done, and they can replicate that in a couple of years.
One thing I just want to mention before we move on for this one one thing I love about the NHL is you have guys that haven't played in like 5 years getting traded. Like I don't know if you see that in any other sport. It's just so fun to see like Ryan Kessler, whose name I haven't heard in 4 years, got traded today.
Didn't Chris Pronger get traded after he got inducted to the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, there was
yeah, he did. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like Brian Little got traded.
Yeah, Brian Little got traded today or yesterday, which is just bizarre.
Like I haven't heard his name in forever.
No.
So I just love that.
It is funny. It is funny. Let's talk about the Andrew Kopp trade. I thought they gave up a lot for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple second rounders.
But that second rounder, that 2023 second rounder, or it's the 2022, if the Rangers win the 2 playoff series and Kopp plays 50% of playoff games, it turns into a first rounder.
Is that either year or?
It's just one of them.
Rounders.
I think it's 2023. Man. And 2022 second round pick, I don't know if the Winnipeg Jets get to pick, but they get to pick between like the Blues and something else.
So that just ties up so many Rangers draft picks too in this one trade. So next year, if they want to make a move, that's a crazy trade for a third line defensive player. I mean, I guess those are the guys you want to you need to trade for to win, but
there's a good chance the Rangers win 2 series. They're not playing.
They can get out of the Metro.
Yeah, I think they can get out of the Metro. So, I mean, good for Winnipeg.
The trend I saw this year and this year's trade deadline is like since there was not that many high end guys other than maybe Giroux, is those second and third line guys, the price on them was really high. Like Yarncroc went for a lot, Kopp's going for a lot.
Toffoli went really early. I think that was really good at Calgary to get ahead and just get Toffoli in.
Yeah.
Not a lot of first round picks traded this year.
No, not
every
a lot.
team like this trade. This would usually be a first round pick, but teams are opting for 2 second rounders.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, again, just a bizarre trade deadline. A lot of depth players being moved.
Yeah, I agree. Let's go down here. Michael McNiven. I didn't even know Michael McNiven got traded. That's a good Georgetown boy.
Future considerations getting moved in a lot of trades.
I love that. Future considerations. Like, we don't know what we want yet, but
we should talk about the Predators. They played a little joke on Twitter about that, right? With the Leafs and the Preds. Future considerations.
Yeah. What was that?
They traded Leafs trade like their 9th defenseman to Nashville for future considerations, and then Nashville put out a Twitter post saying like, "Thank you, future considerations, for playing for us and everything."
Yeah, it was like in pencil too. Like it was a joke. It was kind of funny.
If you see Steve Dangle does those trade trees, and sometimes like he'll have it. So he's like, I couldn't figure out what those future considerations were. Like I didn't even they never really materialized.
Is it like an IOU?
Some of it is, but like Riley Nash to Tampa is Tampa's just taking the salary off of Arizona's hands. You know what I mean? Like,
why do they want to take the salary?
Why the hell would they want
I thought Arizona's big thing was that they needed salary.
I don't know. They probably hit the floor already, and they're like, yeah, we don't want to pay him. There was a trade. Victor Rask got traded from Minnesota to Seattle for future considerations, and Minnesota retained 50% of his contract.
Yeah, we were looking at that.
Like, so
didn't make any
they're
sense.
trading 50% of Victor Rask's contract away for nothing.
That's so dumb.
Just so strange. Max Domi.
Dallas. Yeah. So Dallas did the opposite of what we potentially thought they were going to do. Klingberg doesn't go.
Yeah.
They add
Mesnikov.
Yeah, from the Red Wings. So I guess
goalie. They added a goalie too. So.
Depth goalie. I think. Wedgwood.
Did they?
Yeah,
Wedgwood.
Yeah.
So what did you guys think of not getting rid of Klingberg?
That's a mistake.
Man, they're so trending down. Like,
the thing is,
I mean, they have Jason Roberts, but what other young talent?
They have to sign. I saw a thing too about Jason Robertson, and they're gonna have to sign him. And his point per game is like 1.15 in his career, and like they put it into the categories. He should get over $7 million a year.
Who's this?
Jason Robertson.
He's already up for contract?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
They're thinking maybe a bridge deal.
3-year, $7 million Barzal type of contract.
Yeah.
The only thing is, like, they're only buying because Vegas is playing so bad and they can make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But, like, I think last year Nashville was in the playoff spot and they still sold at the deadline. So, like, we know we're not winning this year.
Now look at Nashville.
So, like, right? But I don't know, man. If you're Dallas, like, you cannot look at this year as a success getting it as a second wild card because Vegas and, like, Edmonton, everybody else is shitting the bed. Like, I don't know why. If Klingberg said, I'm not going to re-sign here, he's going to walk. If you're saying you could have got 2 second-round picks or, like, a decent prospect or something, I would have taken that for sure.
I'm even surprised that they couldn't get even just a younger, I guess, valuable player and like a pick or something. Someone that can still plug in for playoffs.
And in reality, like, even if you sneak into playoffs, like, you're not going to get past teams like Calgary. And
they got Calgary or Colorado first round.
Jesus.
So it's like, and then why would you sell off draft capital for a likely first round exit?
Yeah.
Makes no sense to me.
Like, maybe it's the rare thing I can see is, like, you know what, we got some young guys on this team. We got Joe Pavelski re-signing. Maybe it's like we're trying to do them a favor by saying, you guys are playing well, we're going to support you.
An interesting team to me yesterday, because we don't even probably see them up on here, is Edmonton really did not do much, right? Like, I don't, did they make any major move? Or
I think they got, like, Kulak, right, from the Canadiens?
They got Kulak from the Canadiens. I think them getting a Vander Kane was their big move.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? It's like one of those things where a lot of teams make moves ahead of the deadline. I think that was, looking back, that was a smart move for them.
You don't think Edmonton would maybe like Fleury had them on their his no trade list? Is that public knowledge? Because, like, you think if you're Edmonton, you absolutely give up a first if that was the asking price.
Well, they were saying that Chicago was saying to Fleury, like because Fleury didn't want to go to Chicago at all, and Chicago said, if you come here and we're not good, we will consult you on any trade we make with you, kind of as a handshake agreement.
Sure.
So it was like, he basically gave them like 4 teams. He said, I only want to go to a team if I think they're a real contender. She went to Minnesota. So
do you want to talk about that trade? That is a bizarre trade.
The Fleury trade?
Yeah.
To Minnesota.
It's I didn't think that was the need for the Wild. I thought they needed like a veteran. I don't know how hard they ended up pushing for Claude Giroux, but holy crap.
Well, apparently Claude Giroux said, I'm going to Florida.
Okay, so
That's
he wanted to go to Florida?
pretty much what he said, yeah.
Okay. There wasn't really many veterans at this deadline, like good veterans, like this year, I thought. And that was it sucks for the Wild because they have a great team that could use one. But
the only thing I can see with the Wild is because they had to trade Capo Caco after that.
Yeah.
Right? It was a decent 25. He's not super young, but for a goalie that's kind of young, putting up decent numbers. But like, I think the thing with them is they're on the hook for like $26 million in dead cap on the next 2 years.
Yep.
On who?
Really?
On Parise and Suter's bios.
Right,
$13 million each for 2 years.
That's
God
bad.
damn it.
So I think for them, they're like, they know they'd probably have to pay Capo Caco after this year. You got Jacob Middleton, who's a pretty good.
He's Kakkonen. Not
Capo Kakkonen?
Is it Kakkonen? Isn't Kakko the guy on the
Kakkonen.
Rangers?
Capo
Kakkonen.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. It's okay.
Nailed it.
God damn you, Finland.
Fleury was weird. It felt like kind of like, oh, we need to do something, so let's just get a goalie.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, Talbot's been fine.
Yeah,
and if
Talbot's
you have
been fine.
Kakkonen as a backup, you can have some comfortability with that. It just seems crazy to me that that was not where I would have thought they would have gone.
I know, again, Jacob Middleton's not a bad pickup for them on the back end for Kakkonen, but like, I don't know. It's like, I don't know how much better that trade makes if that trade puts them in from like good team to contender.
Yeah, I don't think it like pushes the needle. But
they have a way. I would have thought a guy like Max Domi would have been good for them.
Like Max Domi went to the Hurricanes.
Yeah.
For not much.
Someone who
much
can
at
play a
all.
role on that team.
Yeah.
But fuck, the Hurricanes just keep making these deals like that. They're not giving up much.
Man, they didn't give up any. And, like, obviously Domi's not the guy that everyone thought he was, but if you look through it, he's had some good seasons. He had that 72-point season a couple years ago.
Yeah.
He's on pace for like 40 to 50 points this year. So he's not like, it's not like he's a nobody. He can slot in your third and fourth line there and give you guys like a lot of energy in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They have such a deep team that he can serve a role and, fit in well on that team. I think that's a great pickup by them.
Especially a team like Carolina, like their top and middle six is so defensively sound. He can just be like I love the idea of having fourth liners who don't play much 5-on-5, but power play, they get a ton of minutes.
No, yeah, I think that Domi's a good pickup. I feel like there's like a huge lopsided right now in the league. The good teams versus the bad teams. Like there are a lot of good teams.
Carolina, like Colorado, Florida, Tampa, then everybody else.
Yeah, then everyone else.
Calgary's close in that category.
Yeah.
Close 5.
They're getting in.
I guess Edmonton picked up Derek Brassard.
I didn't even know Brassard got traded.
Yeah, I forgot
Brassard,
about
what's he going to be, like a fourth liner for them? Maybe
who do they
third
have
liner?
who do they have in the middle for?
McDavid, Nuge. I think
Yeah.
Nuge or Draisaitl plays 2C. It's Cal Tur still there?
He just got injured, actually, I believe.
I don't know. Oiler is just, they're not a squad.
Yeah.
No,
They're just not a squad.
They're pretty pathetic this year.
Big trade. Penguins, classic Penguins. They come out and they say, yeah, well, we're going to have a quiet deadline. And then they go out and pick up the number one trade bait on TSN yesterday. Like, is this just classic Penguins?
That's a great trade for them.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't we were looking at this trade this morning, and it looks like a lot because it's 4 pieces. But you said Calle Klang's decent.
Calle Klang's a decent goalie prospect.
But is he going to make a difference? Probably
no,
not.
like he's not going to play for another 4 years. He's for 4 or 5 years.
Zach Aston Reed.
I love Zach Aston.
He was playing. Wasn't he playing decent this year?
He's like a really good like fourth line defensive player.
Okay.
You know, like Dave Camp on the Leafs.
Okay.
Like same kind of guy like that.
So where does Raquel plug in here with the Penguins?
Probably with Malkin.
Yeah, on the second line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Then
so
you move
too.
like I don't know Kapanen on your third line. That's not too bad. Going Rust, Raquel, Kapanen as your right wing. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
He's been having a decent year, or no? He's been having a slow year this year.
Yeah.
Raquel.
He's really streaky. I find.
Yeah.
It'll be good though for Raquel to get a new look. I mean, he's been with the Ducks his whole career, so
yeah.
Going to the Penguins, going to a playoff team there, it could be good for him. He could be a big piece for them.
And you never know how some of those guys will slot in with Crosby.
Yeah,
Like Crosby lifts those guys around him up so much, so you never know what that could do for his career.
No, for sure.
Love the Tyler Mott deal for the Rangers, by the way.
Okay.
Thought that was a 4th round pick. That's a really good value.
Crazy. Why did Hammond? Sorry, I'm sure no one cares about this trade, but like Hammond came in and played 1 game for Montreal. It was this big story.
Got injured
on like a random Saturday.
Yeah.
Did he get injured in that game? I thought he played well.
He got injured after the game. Didn't play. That's why he didn't play again.
Because I was wondering why they never played him again.
Nate Schnarr is not like I don't know. He's an AHL player, but they got props to Montreal. They got an asset. They got a 24-year-old center, power forward center.
I don't really understand why the Devils wanted Hammond.
Yeah, they're out.
That's a weird trade.
Who gives a shit if John Gillies is playing for you? You're not making the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like you don't need apparently Montreal said we're trading him so he gets a chance to play in the NHL again. But if you're New Jersey, why are you doing that?
Yeah. Merkley, isn't he a defenseman?
No, it's Ryan Merkley.
Okay, wrong guy. I was so confused. I thought maybe they messed up. Okay, nothing.
I thought the Rangers had like a pretty good, just adding depth pieces.
Gianni came over the other day and we watched the Devils Flames game, and it was just a shit on PK Subban fest for 2 hours.
There was rumors about him being dealt.
He makes way too much money.
Yeah, I don't know who.
He is genuinely terrible now.
Yeah,
like I guess when he was younger, he could move.
It's absurd how bad he got because he was fucking so good with the Habs.
Making $9 million this year. He's gonna make $1 million next. Someone's gonna like. I do not blame any team for signing him next year for like $1 million. Like if he's a right-handed guy, and if he can move the puck for you on your bottom pair, it's not awful. But
everything that he all the plays he makes, and some of them look nice or like end up being nice, but they're just so awkward.
Yeah, no.
Nothing he does looks effortless.
No.
He's the opposite of like an effortless player.
Yeah. I love a guy who makes it like looks like he's not doing anything out there, like, and he just looks like he's sweating.
He can't backward skate, and he's a defenseman.
Maybe they should move him 4th line right winger. DK.
Honestly, I would love that.
I don't know why teams don't do that more. Subban as a right winger would be. Man, Jake Gardner, I was saying his last few years of the Leafs, I would have preferred him on the wing.
Is Gardner like okay? Is he still with?
He like messed up. His like slipped a disc in his back.
Oh fuck! So he hasn't played all year.
No
back injuries.
I don't know if he's gonna play again.
Been there with the back injuries.
Johan Larsson's a good deal for the Caps, I think, but I don't think it's the Caps' year.
Yeah, a lot of people were unimpressed with the Caps. I said everyone else got better except for the Caps.
I mean, they made their Anthony Mantha move.
Yep.
Anthony
Yeah.
Mantha. Anthony
Mantha. Yeah.
Weird name. They made that last year, which was a decent little move for them, and they're just still reaping that. But
Yeah.
they're just on OV clock right now. They don't really. Nobody cares what happens with the Caps. It's just like, when's OV going to break the record? So
Yeah. Blues got Nick Leddy.
that's a good deal for the Wings. I like that.
This is a boring trade to me.
Yeah, nothing crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, what the hell is Nick Leddy going to do for the Blues? I guess provide some veteran. Like, he's not going to play. He's not going to play power play 1, is he?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah. So
I mean, you got Falk and you got Torrey Krug.
Yeah.
He's going to be like their bottom. Like, I mean, if you're adding Nick Leddy to your bottom pair, it's a decent gamble
I
for what
agree.
you gave up.
Yeah.
The Lehkonen move by Montreal was great, in my opinion.
Yeah. So 2024, like, holy crap.
Yeah, but Justin Barron's a good little D prospect.
Yeah. That people were surprised that they gave up Barron for this. If you're the Avalanche, like, do you really need another right winger?
I think
For
there's
this
just
asking price?
there's an arms race this year with Colorado and Florida, and they're both just like, oh, they did this, I got to get this. Oh, they did this, I got to get that. They're just going back and forth. I think, like, I don't know. Again, it's like a 3 or 4 horse race this year with the league.
Yeah. Okay.
But
There's the Kulak trade.
yeah, not much. Like so many, just like, oh yeah, like Justin Braun.
Justin Braun was talked about going to the Leafs.
For a 3rd round pick next year. Again, like the Rangers made just a bunch of, I think, smart depth moves. I like what they did at the depth. They didn't go all in on anybody, but building around.
Yeah, we touched Fleury. Yeah.
Fleury and Middleton back to back.
Yeah.
I don't know, Marcus Johansson back to the Capitals. Again, just
Seattle,
so many.
dude,
just like
Seattle has so many picks in the next 3 years here. It's like, yeah,
I saw something on that.
they're gonna flop on so many of those though.
like Nathan Beaulieu for a conditional 7th. Like,
We haven't even talked about some of the major ones yet. Like we haven't talked.
Mason Appleton goes back to Jets. I saw the piece on the GM talking about that. I don't understand. The GM said that he tried to make a deal with the Kraken like before the expansion draft, and it like didn't work out. But then he just got him back.
Yeah, man. Seattle has been like Seattle had like they could have had Tarasenko.
Yeah,
they could have had like Ryan. Like, wasn't Matt Duchene exposed?
Probably, like, because his contract isn't great.
There's so many guys like Seattle. Like Seattle had a chance of building a better team than Vegas, and they flopped.
Yeah, they really, man, they're taking the long route, and it's like, dude, it's gonna take a while.
They were so scared to pick up any big contracts.
they were.
They didn't
They
pick
were.
up anything.
Like, if you're talking about like Carey Price was exposed, I don't blame them for not like.
Yeah.
That's okay. That makes sense. You're not going to take that, but man, if you're an expansion team, just take Matt Duchene. Who cares about the cap? They're trying to hit the floor.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why are you so? If you're that far away from the cap, taking a shot on a guy like Tarasenko who's still relatively young,
Yeah.
it's probably worth it.
This was interesting.
Jack McBain.
So they give up a 2nd round pick for Jack McBain, who hasn't played an NHL game before. He's a college guy. I actually saw him play. He played in the OJ for the Junior Canadians. Good player, and he's been tearing it up. But like, you don't see this very often at the deadline.
No, that's usually more of a summer move. I think what happened is Minnesota wasn't going to sign him, or maybe Arizona was like, hey, we'll sign you like for this season and then burn a year of your entry level.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. I don't know. It's just, there's a story behind it. I just don't know all the details about it.
Yeah. Wedgwood to the Stars.
There's a lot of small
Man,
trades.
the
in here,
Preds
eh?
paying a second. The Preds paying a second for Lausanne and Ottawa paying a 3rd for Hamonic were just strange
The
moves.
Sens were, they just, Nick Paul gone. I thought that was a good depth piece for Tampa. He's going to be good for them because like Nick Paul has been trying, like he had to play out of his shoes with Ottawa.
Yeah.
Like as a second liner. So him going to Tampa and playing like a 3rd, 4th line role is where he fits in the NHL.
A weird one too was Philippe Myers on waivers and not getting claimed.
Yeah, that was weird.
That was I thought all like the bottom 6 teams in the league would have taken him.
Yeah. I thought Ottawa got a horrendous return for Nick Paul.
Yeah.
Like Joseph hasn't done shit. And he's been given opportunity with Tampa.
Yeah.
Like,
he's not getting a better opportunity in Ottawa.
Yeah. And then a fucking fourth round
2
pick.
years from now.
Like you got to be kidding me. Like Nick Paul is like, he's not a nobody. Like he's a good depth piece to a playoff team. I know his contract's up though, so like technically like he's completely a rental, which is probably why this return wasn't
He wanted
great.
to re-sign, but apparently like Ottawa's like, oh, he wanted like $3 million for 3 years, and Ottawa said no.
Yeah, Ottawa just,
Bizarre team there. I feel bad for the people who cheer for that squad.
yeah. What do you guys think of Travis Dermott?
I don't know. Happy they got a 3rd round pick.
Yeah.
I like
What you can
Dermott.
say.
There was talks about him being gone to Seattle. They weren't going to protect him.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think that's fine. You replace him with Giordano,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a huge upgrade.
right? So
I mean, the Giordano trade, do you guys think it was too much? I mean, I don't. You said that he's looking like he'll probably re-sign for
Yeah.
like
Like a-
vets min or something around.
I don't know
mean,
right at the min, but he's gonna take a massive discount for next year.
Yeah, because Dubas did say that he didn't want a rental.
Yeah.
So I think there was conversation that, like, if we get you, what are the odds you resign with us? I think that conversation has already started.
His dad was pumping the tires about, oh, he's so happy to be back and like be able to see his kids all the time and everything. So
It's a smart decision just because he has also a history of playing with, obviously, TJ Brody.
yeah,
But is it the right, like, they kind of want, we're kind of looking for more of a physical defenseman, right?
I don't know. I think like if you're talking about Morgan Riley, Labushkin, Brody, Giordano, Sandin, and then Muzzin, and then Justin Hall, and Liljegren are your 7-8.
Yeah.
That's a really good deep.
That's a
defensive
really
core.
good. I think this does a lot for them.
Yeah.
This because if you're not having Giordano here, you're having Holland every night.
Yeah,
And that's a huge
Yeah.
huge
The other
difference.
thing
And
is, if Muzzin's not playing well, you don't have to run Giordano like 24, 25 minutes every night. But if Muzzin's not playing well, then you're like, okay, Muzzin, go to the third pair. We have a guy who can absorb your minutes.
Yeah.
You didn't have that before.
you're getting a guy that can play 20 minutes a night.
No.
Giordano
I
is a
think it's
good leader.
pick. Second round pick. I thought maybe he was going to go for a first.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was, I think, what was it, 2 seconds, I think?
2 seconds and a third for him and Blackwell.
Blackwell. I like Blackwell.
Yeah,
Good
there
little
it is
bottom
there.
6 player. Yeah.
I mean, second rounders don't hit that high of a rate.
Especially
I mean,
for the Leafs, they're going to be like over the 50th overall pick.
Yeah, and I don't know. There's like if you don't do something special. We talked about this earlier in the year. The Leafs get out in the first round this year. There's gonna be so much pressure from people to just blow it up.
Yeah.
And this might, I don't know. Does this win you a Stanley Cup? Maybe not, but it at least gives you a better chance of getting out of the first round and
Yeah.
alleviating some of that pressure, so that you don't have to blow everything up the next few years here.
Yeah. Blackwell. I don't know much about this guy's past. Do you?
I looked at his hockey.
He's just
DB.
like good
Nothing
bottom.
crazy.
He's like one
Yeah.
classic like bottom 6 energy player.
Okay.
Just like added like a little bit of.
They have him slotted second line left winger.
I think
Do you
just
think that sticks?
I don't know. Just they're putting anybody on that
Okay.
line. I think they're giving Robertson some AHL minutes again because he only had 1 goal in 9 games.
I want Kasha back so bad, man. We need
Here's
that guy.
the Giroux. Here's two of the bigger trades.
Yeah.
Giroux, obviously, to Florida. It was kind of leaked before it happened, but Tippett obviously involved. 2024 first round pick.
That's all they had left. I don't think they have. They trade. What did they trade
They
for?
were.
They got-
I mean, the Flyers were like, "Who are you picking?" And he said Florida, and they had to make it work.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks for
It-
Philly because they probably could have got a better return.
the Philly special in the NHL is trading for a ginger.
Ginger for
shit.
ginger.
Couture,
Yeah, Hartnell.
Braden Shen. Hartnell?
Braden Shen's not ginger.
Kind of.
He's blonde.
What'd you guys think of Hampus
Simmons?
Lindholm? Hampus Lindholm goes to Boston. I think that's a huge sign.
Yeah.
Huge,
They gave up a
trade and
lot.
They
signing.
gave up a lot to get
Yeah.
the 8-year deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the 8-year deal.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
And like if you look at all that and you're like you're trading for a guy who you have for 9 years, that's like, you know what like Boston has to be like we have to win now.
They needed a defenseman.
Their window to win is 2 years.
Yeah.
Because then Pasternak's contract's up, Bergeron's not getting younger. I think Lindholm and McAvoy is an outstanding top pair if they play together.
Well, I mean, Lindholm was even playing some power play for Anaheim this year.
Yeah, he does it
was
all.
logging like
That's-
insane minutes too.
I hate that I love that squad so much.
It's a classic.
They need a
Boston.
better 2C though. They need a better second line center than Charlie Coyle.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so the Hagel trade. Do you like Brandon Hagel? Like, is he worth this much?
It's his contract. It's 100%. It's $1.5 million for another 2 years after the season.
And how old is he? He's young,
He's
right?
23.
Okay.
So it's like you're getting a young guy who's a good top 6 winger who costs nothing. If you're Tampa, you're like, I don't give a shit about those first round picks.
Yeah.
I'm getting cost control top 6 minutes when I have Stamkos, Kucherov, Point, Hedman, all still in like just at the end of their prime. Like that's just a trade where the GM's going like, you know what, I believe in this core.
Yeah. That's smart.
So a lot of Blackhawks fans were confused with this trade. Taze came out and he said, I don't understand what we're doing.
Whoa.
Yeah, he doesn't understand. I thought we were rebuilding almost, like sort of talk, like he was quoted saying. Do you think that this was a good move by the Blackhawks?
Great move. Huge move.
Because they're not going to compete in the next 2 years.
Honestly,
what do you not understand? Getting draft capital on a bad team.
This is a thing too. You have to consider this. If Giroux said, I don't want to be traded.
Yeah.
And the Flyers said like, well, we don't really want to move forward with you.
Yeah.
Right? Then you're losing a really good player for nothing.
Yeah.
But if you're Chicago, like worst case scenario is Patrick Kane says, you know what, I don't want to stay here for another year of a rebuild. Mm-hmm. And then any team in the league wants Patrick Kane for a full season.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this trade might be good from the perspective of it loosens up those vets who you could get like I would, if you're a really good team, you're trading a grade A prospect and like a first round pick for Patrick Kane right now.
Yeah.
Because he's still an elite player.
Yeah. So the Leafs were rumored to be involved with Hagel and Fleury. That asking price, there's no way in God's name the Leafs could meet that.
No, they were not.
Based off what was given. Now they're saying, classic Leafs fans, they're saying that they did a great job driving price up for all these players, which is like...
It's not what happened. That was just the asking price and he met it.
So GM on the Blackhawks, we know, is a alumni of my program, and then Kyle Dubas is alumni of Gianni's program. So they had a little battle. Dubas seemed just frustrated that I think they were involved with a lot of these D. Yeah. Like obviously you wanted Manson, but I think he was involved with literally everything.
Yeah,
and he got Giordano, which is I guess like some people would say the consolation prize.
I think Giordano's better than like Giordano for the price we paid. Like if you look at what Florida paid for Sherrod, I would pay that price for Giordano anytime over that price for Sherrod. So
he said Dubas was like, didn't appreciate that it got leaked.
No. The Leafs don't leak anything. That's like that's like from Lou when Lou was here. Because the Leafs used to be famous for nothing was kept secret and like everything got leaked all the time. And Lou's like, hey, nothing gets out.
Yeah.
And I think what I heard 2 different things. One was Matthew Knees was tied to the trade.
Yeah.
And that's like the Leafs like golden goose. Like he might play for them in the playoffs this year. Mm-hmm. So they didn't want him thinking they were considering trading him when they want to sign him for this year.
Oh, okay.
And the other thing was they just waived Mrazek and Mrazek was attached to the trade. So if they're trying to tell Mrazek like, yeah, go to the minors, get your like mojo back and like come back more confident. And you're hearing, oh, you're actually attached and trade as a salary dump, that doesn't like help his confidence.
Yeah, no, I could see that.
So it's like I think it was more Fleury's agent was the one leaking stuff.
Yeah.
Than anybody else.
Fleury's agent's a piece of shit.
Yeah, Pat Brisson.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's always in the news. That guy needs to shut the hell up. I don't think there was anything else. We're getting a little later.
Yarncroft was a great trade.
Yeah. So I've been watching him the last few nights. Man, that guy buzzes. I've been every single game just betting I guess the last 2 games, betting Yarncroft to score. Every game I've watched, he got robbed against Buffalo last week, and then against Nashville, I can't remember who they played after that. He's everywhere. Or Vancouver. They played Vancouver. And he's just been everywhere. And I think he fits so well into that team. He's such a good guy to have on the wing. And I think he's going to be a big piece. He's such a good guy for playoffs.
I can see them re-signing him too. He's from the same town as Markstrom and Lindholm.
Really?
He's really good friends.
He's cousins with Lindholm.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So I could see them being like, yeah, you know what? Come back.
Yeah.
They got to dump Monahan though.
But he's going to score soon. Either that or he's going on the
game.
big goalless drought ever. Because I bet on him. So.
Yeah. That's pretty much.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. A few more smaller ones. What was that other major trade at the bottom there? Josh Manson.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Josh Manson. Okay, so who would be your biggest winner?
tough. Probably like from a selling perspective, Montreal.
Okay.
Wow.
I think Montreal got a really good value from all the guys they sold. I think like Kent Hughes did a really good job as like his first trade deadline.
Yep.
I mean, I haven't looked at in summation what Florida and Colorado gave up, but it really feels like Florida got some pieces that could potentially, like they had such a deep team already, and really just added those lineups. Like I think like Sherrod and Giroux are huge, like improvements to their lineups. I don't see, and that was arguably the best team in the NHL. So I don't know. I can't remember what they've given up, but I don't see how you
like they have no first round picks or like second round picks for 3 years.
Yeah, so like you have to consider, like you can say, yeah, they made, obviously they added the best players, but it's like at what cost?
Yeah.
I mean, they still got a pretty young core though. That's what they have going for them is like if they don't win this year, you're still getting Barkov, who's in his prime, Huberdeau in his prime, and you got like Sam Bennett, like Reinhard, Ekblad, like you got so many guys.
And they're likely going to be picking in 25 plus for the next few years anyways. So
I'd go like those guys obviously huge additions, but Rangers, Flames. I think the Flames did a great job. They got a really deep team.
I love
if
their
you
lineup.
include, again, like I said before, if you include the Toffoli ad from a couple months ago, that makes that their whole like trade season really good.
Yeah, their team's so deep, like on every level.
It's
like,
crazy.
Just I mean, their bottom two defensemen.
They got energy guys.
But,
like that team is built right.
I'm really excited for this playoffs. It's gonna be fun watching them play. I'm gonna
this
be
is
so
gonna be
annoying.
Like Cole and I say this a lot. Like the first round is like it's weird in the NHL. The first round is usually the best one, and then it slows down. I think once it gets to the conference finals,
there's gonna be some good hockey.
Yeah, because there's 4 just elite teams that are gonna match up.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then biggest loser, Dallas.
I guess. Yeah,
Vegas.
Do you think Seattle's a winner here?
No,
I don't know. They didn't have any good players really to give up. I mean, it was nice that they got some draft picks, but
that's why I didn't understand. Like, why wouldn't you just take those big names in the expansion draft, just knowing you're going to get rid of them? Like, just if you got it, like, think about Tarasenko. He has a decent year with Seattle this year.
Yeah, again,
and he would get traded for pretty good pieces.
Worst case scenario with him, he's still injured, and you're like, okay, we took a chance on him. Like, no one can blame us for that.
I think something to consider is like when you're building a team in a place like Seattle, where like I guess hockey doesn't run in the blood, and whatever you want to say.
No, they got some good roots,
I guess, but it's not like a
super
a Quebec or whatever. So like coming in and having a team that's probably going to get the first overall pick this year, they've been really bad and hard to watch. I mean, it's hard to grow, grow a fan base, and having a team that's not fun to watch really doesn't help. I guess you could say it this way, and then they pick up draft picks, and maybe they have a great team for a couple of years, and it really does a lot for them. And then, which might be better than picking like Tarasenko, Duchesne being middle of the pack, and then just kind of being stuck in purgatory for a while.
Yeah,
but I just think it's tough to. Well, if you look at their roster, who's going to those games?
The only if you're saying and you know what, to that point, if you're in pain for a few years, but then you're building around Shane Wright and Matty Beniers, that's incredible.
Yeah, and I can see that argument for sure. It's tough to in the first couple years. Like it's going to be ugly.
Yeah,
no.
I think they slipped on goaltending the most.
Yeah,
they could have. They could have.
Grubauer's insane.
They took Vanacek and traded him back to the Caps for a third, and they could have also had Capo Kakkonen.
Yeah,
they
fucked up.
Bizarre deadline or draft.
So after the deadline, now we saw the trades. We saw who's going for it. Who do you have winning the cup? Your official prediction right now?
I hate to say it, Tampa.
That's gross. I hate that pick.
I hate it, but again, it's the same thing last year. People it's like, oh, they've won twice already. Nobody wins 3 in a row. It's like, what have they lost?
Yeah,
they still have Cirelli, Stamkos, Kucherov, Hedman.
Everyone.
Their team is better, arguably, because all their younger guys are getting more experience.
Yeah.
They honestly have such a strong case, like Tampa does, because if you look at Florida, Bobrovsky can lose it at any, as great as their lineup is, Bobrovsky can lose it at any second.
And then if it's him, then you're going, okay, rookie Spencer Knight.
Yeah.
Not great.
Yeah.
Which is he's played well, but it's you don't want a rookie goalie.
So if you have the 4 teams, it's Colorado, who is a great lineup. Who's the goalie right now? It's
Kemper. I love Kemper.
And he's good, but I wouldn't say I think having an elite goaltender is so important in playoffs.
We would be in for a treat seeing Tampa, Florida in the second round.
God, that would be.
And they fucking hate each other.
It's insane that at least one of Tampa, Florida, or Toronto's guaranteed out in the first round.
That's absurd.
Probably Boston too is in that group. Like the Atlantic top four is disgusting. The bottom four is disgusting for another reason.
Would you say Florida's offense, like, how can you not say? Can you say that Toronto has a better offense than Florida?
Just
I don't know.
Toronto has the two best offensive players in of that group, and then Florida's got the next like four maybe.
Yeah,
that's the thing. I love Barkov though.
It's tough because you're measuring like team versus team. It's like, okay, offense. Who is the best offense out of Boston, Tampa, Florida, and Leafs? Like overall team, it's fucking close. And then you look at D.
I think it's Tampa on D.
You think Tampa is the best, and you think Boston has the worst? Or Leafs have the worst?
I don't know. Like again, they're all so close. Just depends what you value more.
And then goalies, Leafs probably have the worst. 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
So like you're looking at the Leafs, like they fall down to the fourth team.
It's just crazy how consistently good they've actually been this year.
It sucks, but like we've always said like the Leafs have been a favorite. I don't even think they're a favorite here to get out of the first round.
The issue though is like again, if you this is the thing with Florida last year. Florida lost to Tampa in a 7-game series last year in the first round. And everyone gave Florida so much props for like sticking with it and everything.
Yeah.
Florida has the longest playoff series win drought in the league.
Really? I didn't know that.
Longer than Toronto, several years longer than Toronto. But because nobody gives a shit about Florida, nobody cares about it. Everyone just goes like, oh, you know what? Props to them for losing a 7 against Tampa. If Toronto goes up against Tampa in the first round and plays a hard 7-game series and Vasilevsky shuts the door in game 7.
They're gonna get ripped apart.
Like, but what do you even say? It's like, oh, you can't play much better sometimes. If that, like, that's the thing that sucks. It's last year and against Columbus are the years where you go like, you fucked up.
That's when you big fuck up.
Right? That's when you can win. But if you play like really well against Tampa and you lose, like that's a team who's won 2 cups back to back.
They deserve. But like you look at the past 2 years, they deserve to have a tough first round series.
Right.
It might be good for them though, because it gets them right into it. Because Montreal is one of those things where you're like, they're kind of half-assing it a little bit.
Yeah,
you're not prepared for like playing a Tampa.
They got up 3-1. They were missing John Tavares when they went up 3-1. They're like
fans too. Yeah, right. They had home advantage.
Yeah, they went mentally. We've already won the series.
Yeah,
and then as soon as they lose 2 games, and then they're cooked because Montreal's now steaming in game 7.
Yeah,
it's crazy how hard it is. I don't think it's a hot take, but how hard it is to be good in the NHL. Because you'd look at Toronto's roster and how they've built it, and I wouldn't say they've made any glaring mistakes or any missteps, and they still find themselves the 4th best team in
crazy.
the NHL.
They have an entirely different roster than they did in 2013. Like no players are still there. But they still get lumped in with like, oh, since 2013 they've been blowing game 7.
Yeah, that's how I hate that argument, right?
It's like with Washington, like they always get bumped in the second round, even from like the 1980s, and that just carried over for them
because it's a culture thing.
Yeah.
I wanted to do a couple scenarios here and see what you guys think. What happens? So, what happens to Colorado if they don't make the cup this year?
They have to make the 3rd round.
Yeah.
They've lost in the second round the last like forever basically since they won their cup in like 2003, 2002 whenever it was, they lose in the second round every year.
I don't think they make any changes if they don't, because like they have such a young squad, like that D team, D core. But I mean, it would be a huge disappointment.
They're gonna be in some cap troubles though, because they're gonna lose Kemper.
Yeah,
and then they got to trade Eric Johnson probably.
Kadri's gone.
Kadri's gonna go for sure.
The thing with
Kadri's gone.
The Avalanche are the odds-on favorite this year, right? And like, but how often does it happen that the favorite makes the final? Like, I feel like it's never just the easy choice.
No, I think Tampa's got to be the favorite the past 2 years,
just to make the final from the West.
Yeah, the West. The West seems like the wild card.
Yeah, who was it? It was. I mean, last year doesn't really count, but it was Montreal technically, and then 2 years ago it was Dallas.
Yeah.
Right, and then it's like, I don't know, St. Louis made it out of the West 3 years before that.
I feel like
Vegas.
Yeah, the West has been pretty
since like Chicago won basically.
Yeah,
2015. It's always been crazy what happens there.
So here's the big one: if the Leafs lose in the first round, and I mean like they lose in 5.
Like bad loss?
Like not losing in 5, even if they're tight games, they lose in 5. Okay. What the hell happens here? I'm actually getting anxiety. I'm not even a Leafs fan, just thinking of what's going to happen.
I can't tell you, if you bring in a new management, what are they going to do? Like you can't tell me, like, if you have if the goaltending is the issue, I don't think there was a goalie available at the deadline who would have made a difference.
No, I don't think there's a goalie. But you look back at, a lot of people said they shouldn't have signed Freddie, but it could go back to Jack
Freddie?
Campbell.
I think, again, though, they had to let Freddie walk. That was like, if it's really easy in hindsight to say whatever you want, but it's like, if you go back to last year, there was no sense in bringing Freddie back. I'm really happy he's finding it with Carolina.
I don't even know what you do. Do you trade one of the three heads?
If Carolina, though, gets bounced in the first round because Freddie has a bad series, you can't even say we should have kept him around because he's consistently, like, he has one of the worst Game 7 goalie statistics in the NHL history.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he's like 0-6 or something with like a 4 goals against average.
I think, like, I don't think you can fire Dubas because he's done everything to put the team in a good position, and it's really been the players that have not performed. I think
Sheldon Keefe's gone.
Yeah, I would say the one thing like you could consider doing is you just bring in like a hard ass coach, like not a player's coach at all. Guy that you could argue, like bring in a Suter. But the thing is, like, I guess that's what Babcock was, and you could see how well that went. But that's a different time. You know, things have not worked out. Sheldon Keefe, I don't know. I just think you can't get rid of this core. It's such a well-built team.
You wouldn't even get, like,
the only guy
who are you going to trade?
The only guy you could move out is Nylander, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And if you move out Nylander, it's like you're trying to you get $7 million in cap space. You're not going to get another guy for $7 million who's going to be any better.
Yeah. There's nothing you can do with Nylander $7 million that makes you any better. Right? That's the best use of $7 million
you let Hyman walk. You bring in Bunting, who's the same quality of player pretty much for the Leafs. Mm-hmm. You bring in, like, McKayev's been good on his deal. Camp's been good on his deal. Like, Nick Ritchie was bad. We moved him out. Got another physical defenseman. Like, you re-sign Morgan Riley to a fair deal. Like, what could another GM do any better, really?
Yeah, I think the issue is, like, Tavares' deal isn't great.
No, that one's aging
they needed someone who was, I guess, like, not a skill guy, but more of a physical, very solid second liner.
But man,
which is what Boston has done for the past. Look at their success, but they've always had, like, just a very, like, solid second liner who's not that skilled. Just, gets in the corners. But I don't know what you do. Like you can't get rid of. You can't even get rid of, like, some of those contracts. Like Tavares, no one's taking that contract at this point, unless you're.
Like 3 more years, I think somebody would take it. I think, but you were not trading. You would never trade Tavares.
Yeah,
that's my thing. It's not even if somebody wants it, you still don't move him.
Yeah. Change the name of the team. Just be the
go to
Toronto,
Hamilton.
Relocate.
Go move to Hamilton.
The Red Hogs or something.
Relocate. If Vegas doesn't make which is crazy to think about, but Vegas does have a chance of missing the playoffs. I don't know what you do.
See, that's one where I think the GM fucked up a little bit.
Yeah.
What do you think? Where do you think he fucked up? The Jack Eichel?
Dude, he got too horny, man.
Yeah, he got a little overzealous.
Yeah.
Horny overzealous.
I think he was thinking, all he could think about is how good Colorado is, and he's like, we need a goddamn. I need another piece.
I don't blame them for getting Eichel. That's a great player, but like it's clown moves almost. If you look at what they've done, it's like, oh, we let this guy go to bring this guy in. It's like I get, like, Petrangelo an upgrade over Nate Schmidt and everything, but you're, like, kind of blowing up what your team kind of had to bring in, like, sexier assets.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah, they really they had some, grassroots guys, and they brought in elite guys and got rid of a lot of their depth.
Yeah,
you don't see that often.
No, I don't know what they do. I mean, you got to give props that, like, Vegas has been competing, like, the entire time since entering the league, which is, looking at Seattle, like, it's pretty absurd what they've done, and people are counting it as, like, a disappointment. Well, if they get into the playoffs, they can beat any team.
Yeah, no, I was saying Nicole, the biggest sleeper this year for winning the cup is Vegas, because if you look at, they haven't had one game. I think they've had the most games lost to injury of any team in the league. And it's like Pacioretty, Stone, Eichel, Martinez, Pietrangelo, Shea Theodore, Robin Lehner. They're playing their third string goalie.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's not just, they've just been so down bad this year. Sometimes that just happens. But if they get into the playoffs and they're healthy and they get their full team in, that's a scary squad.
They could be the best value for winning the cup. I wonder what it's at, but I'm guessing it's pretty.
The scary thing is it might be Vegas, Colorado first round, and you're talking about Colorado maybe getting bumped in the first round.
That would destroy that. That would be the second biggest storyline compared to the Leafs losing first round. Is Colorado losing first round?
I mean, again, if you're talking about Colorado, Vegas, and then Toronto, Tampa first round matchups, that's spooky.
The playoffs are going to be a lot of high level teams. There's not very even the teams that are sneaking in.
The worst matchup is going to be
Dallas. Really.
Is going to be the Pacific Conference 2 versus 3 seed.
Yeah, which is going to be Dallas.
It's going to be Edmonton, LA.
Oh, Edmonton, LA, yeah.
Which is
disgusting. I like LA a lot, though.
I like LA, but
even that's an exciting. That's actually an exciting.
It's going to be fun because it's close, but those teams should both get bounced in the first round.
Yeah, I think LA's good this year. I like them.
I love.
You have them in your cup final.
Yeah,
Johnny's pre-year. Whatever
final
that he does with all his buddies. He has New York and LA.
Match.
Oh my god, that's funny.
I just did that mostly as a joke, but if it happens, I call it.
Let's hear from everyone else. Drop in the comments who you have winning the cup and who are your deadline winners. And we will see you guys next week.